Okay, here we are.
Hey.
Episode 4. That's it, 4, right?
4,
yeah.
staying
I
bothered.
keep track of that.
Mm-hmm.
We are back at Mom Proof. The art of being comfortable with uncomfortable. That's a lot to say. I'm like,
I know.
what
Did
exactly?
y'all know I was at a yoga
Is.
place and they had it on the wall? A
The
Pilates
art
place
of being comfortable
with the uncomfortable.
Really?
That's on the Pilates
Nice.
place. And I almost took a picture and was going to show y'all, but I knew I could just tell you.
Oh, that's
But I
awesome.
thought that's people get that. People,
But wow,
reson-
it's the art of being comfortable with the
it's
uncomfortable while staying bothered.
Oh my God, that's hard. Okay.
boom.
You know what? Let's keep adding to that. It'll be like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Good
Oh my
one.
God.
I like it.
Yes, we are staying bothered.
Yeah.
We are. There are things to be bothered about. And I think this transition of getting these kids out and off, we might be missing a little bit of the joy in there. So I think maybe we just today inspire some parents to find the joy in whatever's going on, because there's transitions that are tough. Life is tough for these kids. They're not doing what they say they're going to do to get ready.
And you said it.
Swore they
Love
were,
your
but-
life. Everyone needs to have a little piece of that as a way to find joy. What
We
you know,
did that our last.
I loved that you said that. That little
Last
acronym
little
thing was
sesh.
fun last
Yeah.
sesh.
Mine's LML, Love My Life.
I was TIL, tune into life, especially your own and those whom you love.
Hurt yours with a tagline.
Yeah, I had to. Because there's other TIL
Sure.
meanings. Anyway,
Yeah, so how do we tune into life and
good one. I think one of the most important things is continuing to have conversations with people face to face. And boy, isn't that a dying art?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Dang it.
Dang. So
can-
you need to actually see your friends.
See
I've been
your
feeling like I haven't
friends.
seen my friends enough lately.
What?
I do.
We were just, y'all.
'Cause I'm
there was
all in
traveling, there
love.
was-
So
oh.
I'm busy. You got to build on that. You got to commit.
Well, and that's another reason you love your life. I like
I
that.
do.
And you find joy.
I am trying to find joy.
So I say back to that, what do you do though, Sandra? Like, I think finding joy in life, she's like,
That's
no.
a tough question.
Yeah. You said, what was your tagline was so cute.
Are you kidding? I'm just trying to make light of everything. You know, I mean,
humor?
yeah,
find the
just
positive-
kind of trying to laugh about stuff and it's just, I always say either you laugh or you cry, and I'm just going to choose to laugh because,
I like that. That
It's
sounds great.
very healthy for
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Laughing and sex apparently is really very, very healthy. I mean, that
She
we don't
speaks
tell
from
our
experience.
teenagers.
No.
Yeah, I'm just
Of course, they're
talking amongst
watching or listening,
ourselves,
so way to go.
but they're not dumb either. So anyway, yes.
And just, I think enjoying the time that we have left with our kids, you know, just instead of, you know, getting so upset about stuff, is just kind of like, you know, just putting it out there. I think the thing with me is that I don't like to fluff a lot, which could be kind of,
I'm learning that about you after that
because
last
I'll
episode.
say stuff that is like direct, and then
How
they
does
get,
that work out in love relationships?
it doesn't. That's why I'm single.
Not true. You haven't. The right one is out there.
That's right.
Can handle you exactly the way you are.
That's true also.
But I just feel like if you're going to say something to somebody, it's just better just to say it direct. And I mean, this happens with my son and his friends, let's say, and I'll say something, you know, I see a lot of parents like they want to like walk around the subject, but really
Give us an example.
your child. Well, an example is like we were at somebody's house and the kids were all jumping on people's furniture, and then I was like, "Hey guys, stop! Jumping on." I was like
Set
direct,
some
right?
limits.
And some of the parents looked at me like, "Oh wow, why would you? You know, don't talk to them like that." Or it's like,
Oh.
but I grew up that way. It's like,
It was stern.
yeah, and like obviously they sat down and they like looked at me, but
So in other words, what I'm hearing out of that is tone came out. I'm gonna have to side avenue into the tone conversation real quick.
Ooh, okay, Kathleen, this is when I love that you're a psychologist.
Yes,
I love it
exactly.
because you're talking about now not only what you say,
But how?
it is important how you say it.
Tone, my friend.
That was like a whole family weekend in rehab. I'm
About tone?
About tone. It is the way you say things.
Are your nails red, white, and blue right now?
They are.
Okay, put those back up. That's
I
cute. Okay,
know.
sorry about that.
I
just got
God bless
ADD on
America.
that. I was like, those are real cute.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Jamie has red, white, and blue nails if you can't see, and they're all like red, white, then blue, red, white, then blue. It's cute.
midsummer.
It's
in
love
the
it.
USA.
Yeah. Okay, go back to tone and that.
So tone is very
weekend.
important. I think one thing I learned and bringing up the other kids was the way you talk to them is going to be the way they talk to you. If you don't speak to them with respect, they're not going to speak to you with respect.
Completely.
If you're sarcastic, they're going to be. Man, I wish I'd done that a little bit different.
A real mirror image of yourself as a human, which is hard sometimes, and yourself as a parent that comes off in that when you hear them speak back to you with the tones or the incorrections that you know, maybe shortnesses, name calling. No,
Name calling.
Who does that?
Not our family.
No, you know what? You're right though, because they can also like pick it up. I've noticed like if my son sees my daughter answer me a certain way, then he turns around and he does it the next.
Behavior, that little 10-year-old.
And I'm like, don't talk to me that way, you know. But I mean, I just feel like as far as disciplining and even like when we're talking about our teens, because that's the whole thing. We're seeing them as teens or young adults or whatever we're calling them.
Yeah.
But in reality, they think they're full-grown adults now because they're done with high school.
So how do we take that new label they're calling themselves and actually help them find joy in appreciating their summer, right? We know that they're struggling with how do I see my friends and I don't want to work.
Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to have all this time with her. She was going to be thinking this is it. I'll hang out with you. I mean, and don't kill me, but is it only me or are you guys seeing every other mom on Facebook doing daughter time? They're all out and I'm like, girl, everybody else is doing it. And I'm saying to myself, get away from social media.
Yes.
Don't look at it. It's that
Such
perfect
terrible,
life that is not a perfect life.
Not true. That's not where to find your joy, man.
No, God, I know.
But I think to remind the kids too, to say what you were saying, Sandra, like guys, like make sure you're appreciating everything. That includes some home time.
Yeah.
That is going to include some responsibilities like getting ready with the modules. You're right. That's a big ripple effect. You mentioned that last episode on getting ready for things. I just think that finding joy has to be done in the present and has to be done with family. They're just pushing away from us so much right now.
Yeah.
How do you entice them back in? Do you have to travel to faraway places?
Do you?
I think you do.
I think just kind of like maybe making dates with them to go have lunch or dinner, like
or if they ask you in for something, definitely rearrange.
Yeah.
or like we do with our friends, right? Hey, can you have lunch today? Or can you have dinner?
Yeah,
That's cute.
I think
that's a great idea.
That's good for them because it's not like, hey, you have to come home for dinner tonight, right? As opposed to, hey, do you want to have dinner?
Yeah, we're getting on their schedules.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
But is there joy? Yeah, and I think I said this in another episode. The family dinner is still ranked as one of the most effective principles of how to connect with your family on a way that creates a foundation that is anti-drug. It completely sets what they call a protective factor. And it's still one of the biggest protective factors in kids' lives. That family dinner, that's a predictor of success around negative decision-making. Isn't that crazy?
That is just so important to know, isn't it?
It
really is.
The family dinner, it could be out, it could be takeout, it could be in a park. But if you could try it like once a week, and believe me, that would be amazing, right? Like right now, once a week.
Yeah.
And
then put away your devices.
Put away devices. What about TV on in the back with a sports game and everyone eating there? That's hard. Does that count?
Remember, I'm not married anymore. I don't have to have TV on at all if I don't want to.
Oh, she lets us know. It's so much better. Okay, whatever.
No. I'm just saying.
No, you're right. You're right.
But, it's kind of whatever your family vibe is. I think you almost need to get to a point where you don't have to label it. You don't need to make it perfect.
Yeah.
You just need that time, whether you're sitting at the bar. We always sit around the kitchen,
I love the kitchen bar.
Yeah, the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
So it is important. That's a really important takeaway in summer when kids are going a million miles an hour, just playing, just going.
And finding joy that way.
Yeah.
Are they building up responsibility for the next steps?
Well, I have seen this summer
Have you seen
we
growth?
talked about in early episodes about do we feel like our kids are responsible? And I was feeling pretty good, and she is.
You were.
Boy, I just realized there's still those young adults,
the
maybe
developmental
older
brain.
teenager. Yeah, it's just not there. They're not there. They're not going to get a taxi at 4:00 in the morning like they think they are when they really need one. When they may have heard that it could be a problem, but they chose to just do their own thing, which is totally fine. 'Cause then, as long as they end up safe, right? But I'm just saying.
Those Ubers at 4 a.m. are hard to find, or they jack that cost up. What's that called? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about?
Supply and demand.
Well, yeah, I guess that's what it is.
But we love Uber. Let's plug
Yes,
Uber.
we do love Uber
Don't drink
Eats.
and drive.
Right.
Don't
oh my
drink
God,
and
thank
drive.
you for saying that again.
Yeah, don't drink
with
and
the 4th
drive.
of July weekend that had been coming and going, there's a lot more drinking and seeing the teens doing a lot more imbibing. And so I'm glad there were ways I saw at the various places I was where teens were invited to just stay put, give up the keys. Jamie, your party was cool like that, little gathering where they could be safe.
We don't talk about that enough.
No.
These kids drinking and driving, we've done our best as parents. I think you guys, our core group of friends
Yes.
are always very good about checking
Focuses
keys.
on that,
But
yeah.
that's not always the case. They get into
No.
it. And look, I think I was a really good example for Avery last year because I got a DWI.
You did
I thought
not.
I could make it through. So yeah, they will throw you in jail.
That's an
so-
experience I'm not sure I'm wanting, but I would be curious about. Was
You know
it
what? It's
scary as
terrible.
shit?
It's humbling,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it just
I'm
goes to
sorry.
show. It's don't be sorry.
Yeah,
'cause
you
I
had a
broke the law.
deal.
I should
like
not
the
have
ownership
gotten,
right
I
now.
should
Yeah.
not have gotten behind that wheel,
I like
and
the
thank God
ownership.
nobody got hurt. So
like the
it is
ownership.
important to just continue to have
You're
those
right.
conversations,
Good one.
and which could organically happen at the dinner table.
Could. Okay, what about also though like music festivals? Like I think there is ways we've got to find what is their love languages around where they feel like they can still connect with us.
Do you think that's still a thing?
I know
Love
Reagan's gonna come home.
Love languages.
Yes, love languages.
Okay, 'cause,
Y'all
you
don't
know,
think so?
I don't know
that
what
old
mine
now?
is. I changed,
Oh,
but then
I
I'm the
should get them
poster
out.
child for ADHD, so I could
Physical
scroll.
touch,
Right, but
quality
then it's
time,
something else.
acts of Oh, I see what you're saying. It's not that you don't know those.
Yeah, that she's changing.
I did
Yeah.
not understand you.
So
That's
what's
okay.
what's your kid's love language?
Reagan's is physical touch and acts of service. So she wants her car oil changed or do that for me. Like she loves that, and then touch. And Garen would be
that's 3. See what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like a
That
whole.
was 2.
That was 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so
how do you pick one? So what if you're a little bit of all of them? Okay, this is going off on
that
a
is
tangent.
not where we're
we can
going.
touch that later. But really, what is your kids? What do you think?
I do.
there
I
was
think I
one.
know. One would be physical touch. I think they love getting their feet rubbed, their back rubbed, and I still
sweet.
feel like
Yeah.
that's a special time that you get to actually have your hands on them.
Well, I know my daughter's is definitely physical touch. Like she wants to hug and, she'll come up
She
and
exudes it.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this the love language that they feel most loved, or that they express as love?
Oh gosh, there's
That's
a
the
therapist.
difference.
That's interesting.
I think that's what she wants.
interesting.
Because I am not a physical
So
lovey.
she comes to you and gives you all kinds of hugs, but you can also approach her if you wanted to, but that's not your typical love.
Well, when I do, she's in shock because it's not my natural
Very cool.
way of being, right?
yeah.
Like I'm not coming up to her and constantly hugging and kissing on her, but she'll
It's
come
the
up.
way we love.
Yeah.
The way you most love others. But I always thought that meant that because that's how you felt most loved, but I don't think it is. Are y'all following me on that one?
Yeah, you're going to have to go do some research
Okay.
on that.
Okay. I'm coming back next episode.
Okay,
I'm feeling
with the
bothered
book.
about
Okay.
about the love languages. So
Yeah.
that we can apply them in our
I think that's
relationships
important.
with our
Yeah,
kids too.
It is.
Thanks. I will. I have a takeaway. I
There
have
it is.
homework. I like it.
It's a quick one. Sometimes just a little snippets are what's important. We're going to work on that, shortening.
Well,
some of
is
our-
that because do we turn that around into then that's how we relate to our kids, like figuring out how to get them to be more responsive is by, I mean, is that one
Or
of the
more
keys to
demonstrative.
them?
Isn't that funny? What are we asking them to emote more or to receive better?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just switched the whole conversation though, because, but I like what you're saying. Like they need to learn how to express it, and I love that it goes into the joy we're trying to talk about. Like, if you can't express feelings, and that's so hard for people. Like, think about you're in a new relationship, and then I'm in an older relationship. Where is it easier to express feelings? Maybe that's just not someone's ability, and that can be a hindrance.
I think that's life experience. Because
really?
at
It
my
goes with
age, I'm
confidence?
going to tell you everything I expect. I'm not going to expect you to
Are you
read
like
my
that now?
mind. Here's what I need in a relationship, period.
Yeah,
Here's how I parent.
yeah.
And here's why, as we get to
Yeah.
know each other. But I mean, I'm pretty set in my ways in parenting. It would be tough to get to know me and expect me to change after what I've been through with my kids.
Right.
True that.
So I think going back into continuing to work on your relationship with your kids,
Yeah.
by finding joy, by having those
Yeah.
conversations. It's hard for them to talk about feelings. And you never say,
How do you feel about that?
Right.
How does that make you feel?
oh my God.
Well, I did have an experience like because my son's not so he's total opposite. He doesn't want you to hug him and kiss him and all that, right? It's just not his personality. And he also doesn't talk
Like
a
his
whole
mother?
lot. Yes, he stays quiet a lot. And so we had a conversation the other day because sometimes he doesn't want to go places, and because he's more of an introvert, he'd rather just stay home. And I was like, I try and take you to do fun things, but we're having this conversation. And then he says to me, he said, sometimes before I go to the places, I think of all the bad things that could happen.
That's tough.
So he goes, but what I'm realizing is that when I go and then I have fun. He goes, so I'm going to try and,
You just had this aha?
Yeah, well, we were talking about
really
it because I was
good.
telling him, I was like, I was just honest. I said, look, I take you places and you don't want to go. And then
Is this post this weekend? This is just recently?
it was recently. And then I was like, and then it seems like a struggle. So I was like, so maybe I'm just not going to take you places because you don't seem to enjoy it. And then
that was direct communication, though.
Bam.
Come on, go ahead.
And so that's when he
was going. I'm reeled in.
That's when he expressed to me like, okay, well, this is why. And then he says, and then I turned around and I have a good time. He said, so maybe I'm going to try to do better to be more positive going into it, right? But
So ahead of his years.
Oh my gosh.
I don't
That's
think my
what he's
16-year-old
hearing in
if
the
you're listening-
household too. That's why. That's when that's working.
Well,
You're
then
doing
what
a
the
good
hell
job.
are we saying about my people? Like,
no, people are good too.
my people are struggling.
But that's what I was saying about direct. So
people
it's
are
just talk
struggling.
about staying bothered. It was when I was growing up, it bothered me that even though I was a child, no one talked to me. No one actually told me why they were upset with me or why did you want me to do that? Like I was always wondering why, right? And so then with my kids, that's how come I try and be direct. Like, well, this is why I'm bothered about this. Like I just find that I get a better reaction from them when I'm direct. Like, and what you said about tone, when I'm saying it, I talk to them like I'm talking to a peer, right? I'm not talking to them like, hey,
Down or
because I could have said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to take you anywhere because you're just a little brat. I didn't
that'd be
say,
terrible.
I didn't say that. I
Yeah.
was just like, look, I'm finding that I take you somewhere and you're not happy going there. I go, even though you seem to have a good time, but then, it's becoming a struggle, right?
It was good. I mean, to me, that works with a teenager too, though. I mean, he's ahead of his years, but I like the sentence stem you're using. Like, I tried this, this is how we reacted. Like, it's just really a good parenting strategy on if you want to stay connected to your kid. I mean, you may not want to.
It's not off the
choice.
bat, right? Because it takes, you have to keep doing it.
Right.
And then
Totally.
that's when they start coming up with like,
he generated some ideas. He had thought through it. Yeah. It's very, very engineer minded, though, I have to say to you. Like, and that parenting sounds very effective. I'm curious, too, on like the fact that he's not as emotional. And that makes sense to me because he's so logical. Right? I mean, so that's a good balance, I think, for him. Yeah.
But it's like,
But if you talk like that to your daughter when she was his age, was it the same?
I did, and then she just kind of evolved to this where now she's talking real direct to me, and then that's kind of was shocking. Like, whoa, wait,
Ooh, we better be careful.
exactly.
It comes back.
It does come back.
But that's what you're saying, trying to find the joy. Like I'm trying to find
I love
a
it.
balance because I have one going off to college, and then this one who's only in going to 5th grade, and I'm trying to have fun with both. And so it's like, I'm just going to ask them, like, what is it that
love it.
what can I do?
Yeah.
You know, how can we come to a happy solution here so we can all have a good time?
See, I mean, this is really direct. I love it. And I love how grounded your kids are too. And they're very able to articulate. So that's a good takeaway for everyone. I mean, I'm going to go home today and I'm going to be like, all right, here's what's happening.
Here's,
Ruin it.
here's why I am this way.
I'm going to try something new with y'all. You know, and I started like, hey, no. Anyway, I love it, Sandra. And I think that, you know, the joy this summer is really about, it goes back to communication, but that tone piece, so your tone works with them. Like I think what tone can trigger someone, right? It can, I mean, you could, boom.
People that are sensitive, I'm sensitive. I know you wouldn't think that. But
you seem pretty strong, but yes, you're sensitive.
If someone talks to me in a certain way or raises their voice, I understand that feeling that kids have. Now that you recognize that, it doesn't feel good. And some people can handle it, no big deal, right? Others, my ex was great about that.
Yeah.
He could just manage anything coming his way.
That's why, well, he's good at his job too.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sticks with you, you know, and we as parents, when we talk to our kids, whatever tone we're showing them, right, they're going to feel it. But if they're good with it and it works, yeah.
And I think it depends on what your ultimate goal is. If you're just talking to them about, you know, I think if you're talking to them that you need to get something done and it's serious, then I think you need to have a serious tone.
Right.
But if it's something that you're just trying to have a conversation with them about it, then we need to come out as, you know, sounding more concerned or like, you know.
So what do you think what are some tips for parents that are
on this particular journey of direct communication?
Right.
You've got to know whether it's a social or an emotional or physical like response, like the consequence. So if my kid doesn't get the modules done, that's a physical response in some way. This kid's not going to be able to register for classes or something, you know. And we talked about that last episode. You know, how do you know when to step in? But I think tone is really about knowing your kid.
Yeah, what your kid can handle.
What your kid can handle. Yeah, and it comes down to just knowing your kid. I love Sandra's approach. I'm going to really be listening to myself, though, and like to see how – like I just think all of us need to check at our tone. But I'd be so curious after hearing how direct and it's matter of fact. And, you know, I'm liking how it sounds for myself.
Well,
maybe I
okay,
could
then
deliver
you're
that.
going to stay tuned. You're going to let
I'm going to let y'all know. I'm going to do a little test later today on –
at this moment, I don't have to worry about that. I know you guys with your young ones. I really am the empty nester of this group. You know, I don't know that we've really addressed that.
Yeah.
You have a grandchild that you have –
I know, but he doesn't live with me.
Okay, good point. That's a darn cute
Not that I don't have
must
other
say.
kids living with me, but that's okay.
You have some young adults.
That's what you're supposed to do, family.
I love that about
Family has to adjust
I like it.
and be flexible.
I
because
like
life
that.
is messy. Even in the middle of finding
That's
joy,
joyful.
you got to tell these kids there is always joy. It's messy.
It's yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, it is the balance. I'm not trying to be weird.
That's not weird.
That's not weird.
It's the art of being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yin and
God,
yang.
that's still a lot to say. Do you think I'll ever do?
Maybe we can have an acronym.
Oh yeah.
I got to write that down.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Well,
So what is a nugget we'd leave with our kid? What would we say? All right, what'd you get from this summer? What is one question we
I
can
do like
leave
that.
with them?
If
to
our
think
kids
about, like,
if they're
answer
listening to
it.
this, or
Yeah.
should we go home and do it?
Or,
home too?
let's do it. Let's come up with the question and ask them. I would say something like, let me think.
I mean, I like the idea of
What was the most surprising thing that happened this summer?
That's nice.
And that could be something as little as I didn't get my oil changed and my car blew up. You know.
I put diesel in the tank.
Yeah.
I like that question.
So what surprised you the most about the summer? What would you ask?
I think I would ask, I'm ready.
go ahead.
Okay, really? I would say, what are the things that you most found joy in this summer? I would just actually want to know the joy, because I think the other day, quickly driving home from Wimberley, the sunset was so beautiful. I kept taking pictures, and then when we got home, and we were like, "Oh, we wish we were on our deck. It would be so beautiful." the next day, Reagan showed me a picture of the sunset where she was. It was the same night, taking the same sunset.
Aw.
And Garen said to me, "Hey, did y'all see that sunset?" Because he was working that night. And I was like, yay, that's
They
one of my
noticed.
things. Because I love, like, if you ask me my top 3 joys in life, sunsets is on there. Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's good to know
yeah,
about you,
yeah,
Kat. I
thanks.
like it.
So anyway, I would say, what did you find, joyful this summer? Anyway,
That's nice.
That's
thanks.
good.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I mean, I would say, like, she asked me, I think it was just yesterday, she said, "Do you think I wasted my summer?"
What the hell? It's only
So is that going to be your question back to her?
Yes, I'm going to turn
you
that
think
back.
you wasted your summer?
I'm going to turn
See
it
the
around on her.
difference? Sandra and I are sitting here. What joy have you found? And she's like, "What the hell is going on in your life, child?" And I love both of them.
No, but she asked me. She's
I
asking
thought-
me to answer her, and I just kind of looked at her, and I was
Reflect.
like, first of all, I was thinking, well, summer, we're only in like beginning of July.
Midsummer.
Like, we're in the middle of it. And then I was thinking to myself, all the fun she's had so far. But I was like, I didn't really answer. I was like, oh, well, let's just get back to that. Because I was thinking, I'm going to come back and ask her
You
that at
asked
the
her
end.
that is brilliant.
Okay, we're going to wrap with that one.
Beautiful.
So until next time, you guys are awesome.
Love it.
That's
Adios.
it.
you.
Ciao.